What up, man? What's going on, everybody? Um, Hope y'all doing well. The weather is nice here, so I'm gonna keep this video real short and go enjoy some sunshine. But basically, what I want to talk about today is like solitude and feeling like you're alone. And obviously, this is a feeling that most people are probably very familiar with, considering the state of our society. We focus primarily and we operate primarily through the means of social media, and so you can interact with people without even having to look them in the face. You can do it over your phone. You can call them, and it's made communication quite a bit different. But I think you'll see articles like these, just like especially post COVID, like being alone and being by yourself is just kind of the norm. Um, and I'm here to tell you why it's not a bad thing. Actually, it's not a bad thing to be lonely. Um, because at least in my experience, I'm not sure if y'all can say the same, but I feel like the biggest moments of growth in my life have come from points where I feel like I had nobody. Um, like for instance, I'll give some examples. I think the first time that I really felt alone was, I think it was probably in high school, and I was just kind of, like starting to learn about myself and starting to differentiate from particular people. And, at the time, I think in high school especially, is kind of when most people's character starts to develop a little bit. But, you know, I would have friend groups and I would have people I hung out with, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, it feels like I'm not relating to anybody. It feels like, not that I'm on like a different level, but I'm sure everybody has kind of felt that way to some degree at some point or another in their life. But in times I really felt alone, like when I first came to college and didn't really have a whole lot of people in the city who I knew, had a few, but um, yeah, especially like not living with my parents anymore. Like that's a significant life change, you know what I mean? And being by yourself, like being lonely doesn't necessarily mean you're physically by yourself, you know what I mean? Like you can be with people, you can be together with somebody like a partner and still feel alone, just as it pertains to like, oh, I feel like I'm not seeing eye to eye with this person, and it feels like I can't talk about something in particular. Like, that's just an example. But what am I trying to say here? You probably heard this message all across the internet at this point, but I really do think it is like, we really got to get it down, man. Like, we have to embrace being alone, because people are like, man, I'm so lonely. Like, life sucks, this, that, and the other. Bro, you don't realize what you're capable of when you're by yourself. Like, I'm sure y'all would probably be, like when you were younger, you'd probably be working on a class project with some of your classmates. And maybe you felt like you didn't get as much done when y'all are chit chatting and not completely focused on the project. Bro, that's what you need to do. You have to lock in by yourself. That's when you see the most progress. And that's how it is for life as well. Like that time period that I just mentioned, me going to college and just feeling like I had nobody in the city, living without my parents. I had to figure shit out. Bro, I had to figure out how to do my laundry. I had to figure out how to get up by myself. I mean, I kind of already knew how to do that. I already did that, but just like small things, man, like lifestyle things. You're not used to physically being alone all the time until you are. And you're like, well, you can either swim or you can drown. And when you start swimming, that's really when you start seeing like progress being made in all types of different facets. And I think being alone as it comes to like having a partner, it's something that I've always kind of feared for myself because I mean, like, I would say I have high standards, but at the same time, it's like a lot of people who I have like attempted to try a relationship with, those relationships have just kind of ended relatively quickly because I found out that, um, there just was a disconnect at some point. You know what I mean? And if y'all are worried about the same thing, like being lonely, in a romantic sense for a long time, man, you got to understand that in those times where you're lonely and you're figuring shit out and you're learning how to operate, really. You're learning how to think for yourself and just do shit on your own time. I think that's really when you become most attractive. Like guys here, listen, bro, ladies don't like when you're desperate or you're looking for attention. People don't like that, man. And I say ladies, people don't like that in general. Like, I'm not too fond of people who outwardly just like whatever it is, like make a fool of themselves, whatever, for attention. Like, bro, just be yourself. Just act like yourself. That's when you become the most attractive. So if you're worried about being single for a long time, bro, just lock in and something will come to you. Like, you have to trust that, the universe is going to bless you with something. And the universe knows what's right for you. And that the universe will put the right things in your life when you need it most. But that's really it, man. You got to get used to being alone. You got to get used to doing shit by yourself. And it can be daunting. It can be overwhelming. It can be all types of different things. But once you really just learn to love it and you say, oh, I can completely lock in on my work during this time, or, whether it's you're talking about being physically alone or like, metaphorically, like you don't have any people in your life. And if that's the case, I would recommend you just the same thing, man. Just lock in and things will come to you. I can attest that, in a romantic sense and in a like metaphorical sense, like having people in your life who appreciate you for you, that comes with like being alone. Like you learn so much about yourself and like you become attractive in ways that you don't realize until you have a community around you and like a support system. And yeah, man, I'm just chirping now. I'm just yapping. But hopefully you learned something from this video, man. Hopefully next time you feeling alone in life, just take a step back and say, this is going to be for the best in the long run. And I'm going to trust that. I'm going to trust what's happening right now is meant to happen. So yeah, just a quick message for y'all. Again, appreciate the interactions, y'all. Hopefully you're learning something from these videos, and I'll talk to y'all next time. See ya.